Hey, there are some exciting things going on in real estate, both nationally and here in Portland, Oregon, and I'm going to tell you about it in a minute. You do not want to miss it. Hey, it's Steve Schwab with the Portland Lifestyle Team. Thank you for giving me a moment today. Hey, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the real estate market, both nationally and locally here in Portland, Oregon. And I just want to point out that this has been a fascinating year to watch real estate transact. What could we have, worse in times? We've got a lot of civil unrest across the country. We've got an election year and politics that are running us all crazy. And then on top of that, throw in a pandemic. So who would think that real estate is transacting off the charts? Well, it is. Let's start things off by looking at the national picture. For that, we're going to use, again, the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller Home Price Index. And what it's telling us is for the month of October of 2020, again, this is December's report, that the average annual gain and average annual gain in pricing across the board in the United States was 8.4%, looking at the various different composites. That's up 1.4% from the 7% the previous month. So there's growth there. That's pretty serious growth over 1 month. The three cities still leading the pack are Phoenix, Seattle, and San Diego. And here's what's amazing is that the Phoenix grew to 12.7%. So their annualized appreciation is 12.7% for the month of October. And that's the 17th month in a row that they've been number one. So what that's showing us too is what you're hearing in all the news, all these people leaving some of these bigger cities, they're going to places like Phoenix. They're going to places like cities in Florida and Tennessee and Georgia and places like that, and escaping some of the cities that are having perceived problems. So let's drill now into the analysis section of the report. And this is from Craig J. Lazaro, who is the managing director of the S&P Dow Jones Index that we're talking about here. And what he's saying is, we've noted before that a trend of accelerating increases in the national composite began in August of 2019. So it's been going on for a while. But it was interrupted in May and June as COVID-related restrictions produced mostly decelerating price gains. So price gains were the prices were still climbing, but that climb was decelerating somewhat due to the pandemic. Since June of 2020, our monthly readings have shown accelerating growth in home prices, and October's results emphatically emphasize that trend. The last time that the national composite matched this month's 8.4% growth rate was 6.5 years ago in March of 2014. And here's what's interesting is we're seeing, and I talked about this a moment ago, where this trend is going to, and where the growth is starting to, or not, has been showing itself, is he says that COVID has encouraged potential buyers to move from urban apartments to suburban homes. So you're seeing a movement away from inner city stuff a lot. I think 1 million people have moved out of New York City, for example, and they're moving to the suburbs or moving to other states. I can tell you, and I'll talk about this here at the end, I can tell you in Portland, Oregon, the downtown condominium market is awful compared to the rest of the real estate market in Portland, Oregon. And as I wrap the national discussion up here, I want to point out the fact that Portland has had a 8.9% annualized appreciation for this reporting period. And on your screen right there, I want to just kind of show you a chart that's pretty fascinating. You can see, again, where the recession took place right there, kind of in the middle of the chart. A little bit of a bounced recovery due to the first-time homebuyer tax credit. A little bit of a decrease again following that, and then we kind of moved our way back to a level of positivity, I guess, as you look at the trend of that report. But what's interesting is look at that 2020 number right there on the right. Again, during a time in our history where things appear to be so chaotic. Look at that climb. It's fascinating. So let's shift now. We're going to talk about the local real estate market. and I'm going to talk to you about some data that comes right out of the MLS. First of all, Portland overall is seeing the lowest inventory of homes available for sale in its history, or the history at least of the MLS keeping numbers. It's at 1 month. Again, what that means is if no more listings were taken as of right this moment or as of that moment in time, everything would be sold within a month. And here's some interesting residential highlights I want to point out. In November of 2020, the number of listings rose by 5.7% over the previous year, yet it was a decrease of 36.3% from the previous month. So from a year standpoint, new listings were up. From a monthly standpoint, we were back down. Now, a lot of that can be, I guess, blamed on season, because typically things go down in the wintertime, activity goes down. But these are pretty big numbers. Pending sales, homes that took offers, were up 12.4% from the previous year, yet they were down 20.1% from the previous month. And closed sales we're up 25.3%. From November of 2019, yet we decreased 13% from October of 2020. So that data shows you kind of what's happened to our inventory of homes and why it's down. Again, my opinion is that inventory is down largely due to the pandemic. There are people that would probably sell right now but are choosing to wait. And then the energy in the real estate market is largely fueled by interest rates that are sub 3%. Now, as for pricing, a moment ago I told you that the Case-Shiller organization has informed us that Portland grew at 8.9% annually. This report is looking at the average and median sales prices, so it's a little bit different, but it's still a very important number. 2020 compared to 2019 for November, the average sales price for homes in Portland, Oregon was $492,000 versus $459,300 in 2019. That's a 7.1% increase right there in average sales price. So what's driving all this energy? Well, on your screen right there, there's a chart I'd like you to take a quick look at. And what that's showing us is the decline of new listings, actually the increase, the plateau, and then subsequently the decline of new listings throughout 2018, 19, and 20. 20 is the red graph, red bar, or red line. So you can see we would probably, or we should start to see that turn and start hitting back up going into this month and next. So this is going to be an interesting chart to pay attention to. So there you have it. If you have any questions whatsoever about the data that I've just shared with you, feel free to reach out. As well, we're in January. We're right around the corner from the spring real estate market, which I promise is going to be extremely active and very productive for everybody. So if you're thinking about selling and or buying going into the spring of 2021, hey, we need to start talking now and design a plan. Get that house ready. I can tell you that houses that are in great condition, that show properly, and are presented properly, they get offers like you would not believe. So given interest rates and the opportunity, there's no time like the present. My number's right there, my email there as well. Feel free to reach out, steve@portlandlifestyle.com or 503-780-7599. We'll keep a finger on the pulse of the real estate market and keep you informed into the future. Have a great day.